everyone. Welcome to ABC Interactive English. I'm Mike.
And I'm Sam.
And it's Dragon Boat Festival Part 3. Get ready for Dragon Boat Festival is the full title. I think we're ready.
I think so too.
I'm feeling pretty ready.
We've learned about eggs.
Yep.
And we learned that Mindy's dad is a member of the boat crew that is not somebody either of us knew was even on the boat.
No, her dad doesn't row the boat. He's not the guy who plays the drum to keep the time. He's not the person who leans out to grab the flag at the end of the race. He's the captain of the boat, and we were all like, well, what does the captain do if he's not doing any of those other important jobs? It turns out the captain is maybe kind of like a coach, like the leader. He might pick the people and say, okay, you're really strong, you sit over here, you're good at this, you sit over there. They might yell out things, even when the drummer's just drumming, they might be like, come on guys, jayo, jayo, you know, that kind of thing. It's an interesting job, and I would think just having a captain is making the boat heavier.
Yeah, that's what I think. It's like, we were just talking about it. It's like, well, what if you just maybe didn't have a captain? Then the boat would be a little bit lighter, and maybe you'd have an advantage.
But maybe that guy sitting next to you is just kind of doing this, and he's being lazy.
And the captain can watch.
That's right. You're not going to be yelling at him, because then you'll get in a fight with your crew. All sorts of... You need a boss. You need someone in charge when you have all these people who should be working as a team. If they're not, someone's got to come in there. Hey, you guys, you got to do better than this. That's what her dad does.
And also it seems like a good position for somebody who's a little bit older, who's maybe done this a whole bunch of times and now has the wisdom, but maybe not the physical strength anymore.
He's got the experience. He knows all the dragon boat race tricks, because he's been around the block. He's done it a few times. All right, well, anyways, we hope the race went well. We hope Mindy's father's team won the race that they were in. But today we're going to be turning our attention to a few other Dragon Boat Festival traditions in our article. So let's check it out.
Dragon Boat Festival falls on the 5th day of the 5th lunar month. People celebrate it by eating zongzi, watching dragon boat races, and more. The holiday remembers the death of Chu Yuan.
All right, so get ready for Dragon Boat Festival. Get ready for Part 3. Get ready for our article. So let's find out more about some of the facts and other traditions behind Dragon Boat Festival. It begins, Dragon Boat Festival falls on the 5th day of the 5th lunar month. When we use fall in this way, we're not talking about your egg falling down after you try to balance it on end or stand it on end. We basically mean it occurs, it happens. When's your birthday? Oh, my birthday falls on April 14th or something like that. Basically, that's the day in the calendar when it will happen. Here it's a little more confusing, a little more complicated, because it moves around. It's a lunar date. So they follow the calendar or the movement of the moon. So the 5th day of the 5th lunar month, to us with the other kind of calendar, the solar calendar, that kind of basically means in June of sometime. But it will move from year to year. It's not always on the same day. And what do people do? Well, the article continues. People celebrate it by eating zongzi, watching dragon boat races, and more, like trying to stand eggs on end.
Yeah, I'm probably eating a ton, just not just zongzi, just eating a ton. I feel every Taiwanese holiday is just eat a ton.
And getting a day off.
Oh yeah, that too. Yes, and so we had this verb celebrate. So this word, it means to kind of observe some holiday or something. So it's like, okay, this holiday is coming up and I want to make it a special day. I want to do something to kind of commemorate or say this is something special. I want to show that by celebrating. And so obviously we also can use celebrate for like celebrate somebody's birthday, just to be like, yay, or you did something great, like celebrate your good report card. But when we talk about holidays and things like that, it's usually celebrated in traditional ways and how you actually kind of carry out that holiday, I guess, if you want to say it that way. So for example, we've got the Dragon Boat Festival, we celebrate by eating 粽子. We go watch the Dragon Boat races, all this kind of stuff. That's how you celebrate that holiday. Yeah. And now if we continue on, we can see a little bit more about where did this holiday originally originate. So we have the holiday remembers the death of Chu Yuan.
Oh, okay. All right. So this is something that sounds kind of sad. It seems strange to celebrate it, but as you said, yeah, once we celebrate things, it could be a big party. It could also just be something you do on a special day every year in order to remember or to honor or to show your respect or something like that. We're not like, yay, Chu Yuan's dead. No, we're like, oh no, we miss him, but we don't want to forget him. So we will celebrate him. We will do things so no one forgets, so everyone remembers. And to remember is to not forget. If the information is in your mind and you know it and you always will be able to bring it back when you need it, you remember that thing. When you study things, when you're trying, okay, what did that, and that happened, you're trying to remember. Do you remember your phone number? Do you remember your address? Do you remember your phone number from 10 years ago, maybe when you lived somewhere else? Yes, maybe you do. If you're like me, I can meet someone and 5 minutes later, I will not remember their name because I'm terrible at remembering some things, but I'm good at remembering other. I can hear a song that I liked when I was a kid. I will remember the words, but I won't remember the name of a person I met 5 minutes ago. So there you go. But if it's in your mind, or if you're also trying to not forget it, pay attention to it, you are trying to remember that thing.
Yes, and so then we also had this part is like we are remembering the death of Chu Yuan, and so we've got this word death. So obviously I think a lot of people know the word die. If you die, that's the verb, and then now we've got the death. It is the actual, this person has already passed away. So surrounding their death, that is just the noun form to say that this person has passed away. Here we have his death. It must have happened a long time ago because we are still trying to remember it today and celebrate it today. Again, not celebrating the fact that he died, but we are remembering it and saying like, we know that this was a thing, this was an important thing, we want to remember, we want to have this holiday to commemorate that death.
Absolutely, both to celebrate and to remember in this way about someone important from the past. It's kind of like to honor or to show your respect to or something like that. All right, let's take a break and then we'll be back with more about the interesting story of Mr. Chu Yuan.
Long ago, he served as a minister to the emperor. When the emperor lost the kingdom, Chu felt really sad and threw himself into a river. People rushed to save him in their boats. They also dropped sticky rice balls in the water to keep fish from eating his body. Remember that when you celebrate Dragon Boat Festival this year.
Okay, so we are starting to learn the kind of history of where this Dragon Boat Festival kind of came from and why we have these traditions. And it turns out it has to do with a guy called Chu Yuan. And obviously he lived a very long time ago, so let's figure out why do we care?
Yeah.
So the next part goes, long ago he served as a minister to the emperor. When the emperor lost the kingdom, Chu felt really sad and threw himself into a river.
Oh my gosh. Wow, what a tough job he must have had. So
must have.
He was working in the government. I guess he was one of the top wise men, one of the top people that the emperor would look to for advice. I think also he wasn't happy that, the emperor maybe not the nicest person and he was doing some bad stuff. And Chu Yuan was very honest and very good and was always thinking about the people as much as the powerful people, the normal people as much as the powerful people. And he just didn't like how things were going. Because maybe at that time the emperor wasn't really the best leader for the country. But of course, with an emperor, you can't really do much about it because an emperor is kind of like a king. This is not a president. This is not someone you can vote for a few years later and say, you're doing a bad job, get out of there, we want a new person. No, the emperor is basically the son of the last emperor, like a prince or a king is the son of the last king. They have the job for their whole life, and they have a lot of power to do basically everything they want. What's the difference between an emperor and a king? Not much, really, but probably an emperor was in charge of more than one country. Their country had taken over some other countries, so this is what we would call an empire, more than just one country. And so if you're a king of a huge area of land, probably countries you took over or someone did before, you wouldn't just say you're a king, you'd say you're an emperor. Or, for a lady, an empress.
Yes, and so you can kind of see that they used emperor and then in the same sentence they used kingdom.
Yeah.
And so the thing is, in the end, these words end up being a little bit interchangeable. King, emperor, kingdom, empire. But in general, we think emperor and empire is bigger, more powerful. But a lot of times they get kind of swapped in and out for each other. And so we had this kingdom. So kingdom is the noun. It is the whole area that the emperor or the king is the ruler of. So all of the land that that person owns or that that family owns, that would be the kingdom of that emperor or of that king.
Yes, exactly right. All right, so this Chu Yuan was a good person, but he killed himself because the country lost a war and he didn't feel the emperor was maybe doing a good job or something like that. He sacrificed himself to show how unhappy he was with the way the emperor was doing things. But the people still loved and respected Chu Yuan. When he jumped into a river to end his life, we read, people rushed to save him in their boats. They knew this guy. Oh no, what is he doing? Why is he doing that crazy thing? We're going to miss him. We need him in our country. So they jumped in their boats to go out there, rowing, paddling really quickly to try to save him. And dragon berries. They also dropped sticky rice balls in the water to keep fish from eating his body. Okay.
So we've got a little bit of an origin story of the dragon boats and of the zongzi, because here traditionally they use that sticky rice to keep the fish away. Okay. So now we still eat sticky rice. Okay. And they paddled out there super quickly. So now we paddle in a very quick manner in a race. So kind of interesting that this is kind of where those traditions came from. Yeah. And so we had this verb drop in that part, and drop just means to let go of. So you were holding it, it was in your hand, and you let go of it, whether you did it on purpose or on accident, because sometimes you drop things when you don't mean to, and then they break. I just broke a cup the other day on accident, which was really upsetting because then you have to sweep all the glass up, and that's no fun. But drop, so very common word again, and so in this case they dropped the zongzi in the water to try to keep the fish away from him. And then if we continue on with our reading, we have the next part that says, remember that when you celebrate Dragon Boat Festival this year, meaning keep this story in mind. Remember where these traditions come from when you celebrate this year, so that way you can kind of appreciate more of where these traditions came from and why they are important. There
you go. And also it's just a good fun day to get out there by the river, watch some races, have some zongzi, try to do that egg trick if you're really, really patient, and also enjoy the day off with your family and friends. And we look forward to seeing you guys back here, maybe full of some zongzi in the near future. Don't eat too many though. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Dragon Boat Festival falls on the 5th day of the 5th lunar month. People celebrate it by eating zongzi, watching dragon boat races, and more. The holiday remembers the death of Chu Yuan. Long ago, he served as a minister to the emperor. When the emperor lost the kingdom, Chu felt really sad and threw himself into a river. People rushed to save him in their boats. They also dropped sticky rice balls in the water to keep fish from eating his body. Remember that when you celebrate Dragon Boat Festival this year.
Hi, 大家好，我是 Stephanie。那我们今天一起看单字。第一个单字呢是 remember， 动词，纪念、缅怀。Tombsweeping Day is a time for Taiwanese families to remember their ancestors. 清明节是台湾家庭纪念祖先的时节。 Ancestor 是名词，祖先的意思。第二个单字呢是 death， 名词，死亡。Emily was very upset about the death of her dog. Emily 对狗狗的死感到非常难过。第三个 kingdom 是名词，王国。Taiwan is often called the kingdom of fruits. 台湾时常被称为水果王国。最后一个单字呢是 drop， 动词，使落下，丢下。我最喜欢去爬百岳，印象中呢有一次很惊险，我在下山的途中发现手机不见了。这时候我就和当时的同伴说 I think I dropped my phone somewhere in the mountains. 我想我把手机掉在山里的某个地方了。还好很幸运的最后有找回来，松了一口气。好，那我们一起看今天的文法。第一个呢是 something falls on 一个时间，某个节日或者是特定的日子发生在某日或者是特定的时间。Netflix 迷如我最近正在看 Manifest， 也就是命运航班。剧情是一架迷航的班机在消失5年之后奇迹的平安归来，但是主角 Ben 却在一连串的召唤提示当中发现5年后他们是逃离不了死亡的，他们的死期是2024年的6月2号。那我们就依照这个剧情造一个句子。The death date of Ben falls on June 2nd, 2024. Ben 的亡命之日是2024年6月2日。那要留意的是 fall on 是不可分动词片语哦。第二个文法重点呢是 A serves as B，A 担任 B。Serve 在这里指的意思是任职、担当某个职务，表示某个人负责某项职责。Lydia served as an interpreter in this meeting.Lydia 在这次的会议当中担任口译员。Interpreter 是名词，翻译、口译员的意思。好，那今天的解说就到这里 ，See you。
The C&P Block Museum of Arts is near the Calligraphy Greenway. It has a great artistic atmosphere. The location used to house an elementary school.China Metal Products Group turned the old school into an arts center. The museum is open to the public. 80% of the museum is open air. You can see many abstract and interesting works of art there. The most famous one is Melting Cars. It is meant to tell people to protect the environment.The C&P Block Museum of Arts has exhibitions from time to time in its main exhibition halls and invisible cottages. It provides a great space for local artists to display their works. The next time you go to the Calligraphy Greenway, make sure to check out the C&P Block Museum of Arts.
See you next time!